Today our session is going to be completely about web applications. So guys, try to look at this. The internet in 2023, every minute. So each and every minute, what exactly happens? Each and every minute, what exactly happens in the internet? So just try to look at the image here. So whenever you go for this image, here you will be able to see that yeah. So 2000, 22,831 visit ChatGPT, 241.2 million emails sent, 18.8 million text messages sent, 2.4 million Google searches, 6,94,000 video hours viewed. It is not like visitors, it is hours viewed. 3,47,000 tweets. And again, Snapchat is 3.47 million. Instagram is one of the highest one, 10.4 million. And 11,000 fake accounts removed from Facebook. Total Zoom meetings minutes is 6.3 million. And 34,000 Slack messages. Teams is 11,834. And per minute, 6.94 million emojis sent per minute. 3.2 images, photos created from smartphones. 2,71,000 iOS and Android app downloads. So whenever you look at this whole cycle, what exactly do you understand? So whenever you basically look at this whole 1 minute picture, what happens in 60 seconds? So whenever I tell what happens in 60 seconds, guys, so if these all have basically one common thing, that is web application. So each and every platform has a web application, right? So in that web application, there are basically few of the top vulnerabilities, and there are basically few of the attacks which can be performed to bring down their you can tell workflow, or basically which can affect their growth. So let's say here, whenever you go for Instagram, and whenever I take an example of let's say YouTube, okay, YouTube is there, Instagram is there. What is the common thing in YouTube and Instagram is both have something called as shorts and also something called as reels, right? They are basically both are same things. They're 30 to 40 seconds of videos which they basically create. Now, both the things are common. Now, if I basically see the views, here it is 10.4 million and here it is 7 lakhs, nearly up to 7 lakhs. But what if I want to increase the YouTube's views and decrease the Instagram's viewing per minute? So what can I do? So what basically we can do is, whenever you go for YouTube or any of the organization, what they will do is they'll try to get down the servers of this Instagram. So exactly what will happen in the client server model. So here you have a client, here you have a server. Whenever I tell client and server, client is going to send a request, server is going to process the request and forward the request to the so and so domain name. That is, let's say some .com. So it is going to find the domain name over the internet. This is basically internet. Over the internet, it is going to find the domain name and it is going to forward the request to that particular domain name. If the client is genuine and it is the genuine IP address, then he is going to forward the request. Now here, what will exactly happen is this server has a capacity for computing the requests. So whenever you go for capacity of computing, so here, let's say server computing. So whenever you go for servers computing capacity, few servers can basically forward 1 lakh requests per second. Sorry, 1,000 requests per second, 2,000 requests, 10,000 requests, 1 lakh requests. So based upon their performance, they will be able to forward or process the n number of requests. Now, if I basically want to make this server unavailable, what can exactly I do? What can I do is, so basically this server, let's say the processing speed is, it can process 1 lakh requests, 1 lakh requests per minute, something like that. Yeah, 1 lakh requests per minute. Now what I want to do is its capacity is 1 lakh requests per minute. So I basically want to make this server unavailable. So if this server is not working, so whoever client is trying to visit this website, whenever he tries to send a request, here the request will not be forwarded automatically. Request will not be forwarded, server will not respond. So here there is no successful three-way handshake. So will be sent synchronize will be sent, but there is no synchronize plus acknowledgement. There is no acknowledgement. Only the client will be the one who will be requesting for the server. He will be typing amazon.com, flipkart.com or something, but there is no reply. So there you will get a site unreachable or any of the error in the browser. Now once you are finding that the site is unavailable, you are directly closing Instagram and you are going to switch to shorts, that is YouTube. You're going to go for the YouTube. So rather than watching Instagram, you will go for YouTube because Instagram is not working, because Instagram servers are not working. So that time what is happening is in the back end, so whenever you go for the two competitors, so in our case, YouTube and Instagram are the competitors. Now YouTube, what it will exactly do is, it will try to make this server unavailable by doing some kind of attack called as DOS attack. DOS is nothing but, guys, denial of service attack. So whenever you go for this denial of service attack, what exactly will happen is, so just try to observe here carefully. Here you have a DOS attack. So whenever you go for this DOS attack, what exactly will happen? So this DOS attack is going to target the DOS attack is basically going to target the server directly. So here, let's say, let me just, this is basically the attacker. So let's say this is basically the server. This is basically the server, and in between here you have few slaves. Yeah. So exactly, first thing is, whenever you go for this attacker, this is basically going to be the attacker. Let me just remove this. And here I have client, or you can also tell normal user. Normal user. Now this is going to be our server. Now here what exactly will happen is, just try to observe carefully, guys. So whenever I basically want to browse amazon.com, so here I have the website. So here you have attacker server and also you have the website. Now, whenever you go for this website, so try to observe carefully, guys. So here in our case, this is basically a normal user. Now, what normal user will do is, he will basically search for this particular website and he will send a request to the server. He will send a request to the server. The server will process the request and server is going to forward the request to the website. That is a domain name over the internet. Here you have internet. Over the internet it is sent. Now what will exactly happen is, so like this, you have n number of normal users, though this is customer one, that is normal user one. Like this, you have 1 lakh to 2 lakh customers who basically come and visit the website each and every day. Now exactly what will happen is, whenever you go for this server, each and every server has something called as computational power. computational power of a server. So whenever I tell computational power of a server, each and every server has basically some different computational power. So whenever you go for basically this computational power, so let's say this server can process some 1 lakh requests per minute. 1 lakh requests per minute. So whenever I tell server can process 1 lakh requests per minute, so what exactly will happen is, guys, so normal users are basically browsing the website, everything is going normally. Now, whenever attacker comes into the picture, what attacker will do? Can anyone tell me what attacker can do to basically bring this server down? So attacker has the information that the processor or the computational power of the server is, it can maximum compute 1 lakh requests per minute, not more than that. So based upon that, what is the attack, what is the basically type of plan that attacker can use to bring this server down and also to make it unavailable to another genuine users? What it can do? Try more than 1 lakh requests, so server crashes. Exactly. Sir, per suppose college website scan cheste found IP to apply DOS to find IP2 possible. Send out of limit requests. So exactly, guys, whenever you go for the attacker, what attacker will do is attacker will get the IP address of the server, everything. He has all the information. He gathered each and every information. Now attacker, what he will do is he will create, let's say, so he will basically create n number of different fake IP addresses. Now these are basically going to be fake IPs. He's basically going to create different fake IP addresses. Fake IP addresses. Now what attacker will do is attacker basically has different fake IP addresses. By using this fake requests, he'll basically create some 1 lakh different fake requests, and he will send all the requests at the same time. At the by 2 to 3 seconds, server will get suddenly 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs requests. So once he basically sends the request to this server, that time what will happen is server will be unable. So what server will do? Server will basically try to process these requests, and in the meanwhile there are basically genuine users who are trying to request for the website, who wants to shop on the website, who wants to do some work on this website. So these basically, whatever the normal users are there, these normal users will be queued for longer period. So server, what it will do is it will try to process these requests. Whenever it is processing this 1 lakh, 2 lakh requests at the same time, that time whenever normal users are also trying to request for the website, so these normal users time limit will increase. Whenever you basically go for limiting the time limit, so whenever the time limit is getting increased, that time at some end of point, whatever request is there here, whatever request we have sent to the server, that requests will be timed out and this request will die. So that time exactly what will happen, this request timeout we will get an error of request timeout. So whenever you go for a request timeout, so that server is busy in processing few another requests. So whatever request time was there, that request is timeout. Please try to reload the website and again try to send. So that time what you're going to do, whenever you find that request timeout error you got, that time you're going to trying to reload the website again it is taking 1 to 2 minutes, it is not showing anything on the browser, and again it is telling request timeout or request time limit, something like that. So that time you need to think that there is a lot of traffic on the server, on the website. Either it can be genuine traffic, either it can be fake traffic, but you need to basically understand that server is really busy, so it is not going to process the requests properly. That is the main reason. Now this is basically the fake IP address. Now, whenever you go for, this is basically DOS attack. Under denial of service attack, attacker will try to generate different fake IP addresses and fake requests. Fake IP addresses and fake requests. He will try to send those to the server. So whenever server is trying to compute those fake IP addresses, meanwhile, the genuine users are there, right? Those genuine users should not be able to view the website. So website traffic will get low. So let's imagine this is Amazon.com. So whenever you go for Amazon.com, so here Amazon.com. Whenever you go for Amazon.com, so these fake IP addresses, whenever server is trying to process these fake IP addresses and send it to forward those requests to Amazon.com over the internet, these fake IPs are not going to buy any product on the Amazon. They are just fake traffic. But whenever you go for normal users out of 1 lakh users, at least 40 to 50,000 visit Amazon and buy on average of 2 to 3 products. Now, if this normal user is not allowed to access the website here because of these fake IP addresses, Amazon is losing its customers. So sales will be down automatically. Whatever the sales are there, those sales will be down. Website traffic will increase. Website traffic will increase, which will also result to the slower whatever users are presently in Amazon before the attack also, they will also basically face that the Amazon website is running really slow. It is not as fast as it was 1 minute, 2 minutes before while they were trying to find the products. So you can get a lot of payments can fail, lot of products, whatever requests are there. Either someone is trying to return, either someone is trying to order, that request also can fail. So this all is due to because this basically due to DOS attack, whatever attacker is sending the fake request, it is disturbing the whole architecture of the website. It is disturbing the sales of the website. It is disturbing the server. The server is going to crash. And at the some time, at some moment, whenever the peak traffic is increased, that time server will not be able to process the requests and it will stop. Sir, how did the server knew that there are fake IP addresses that were sent particularly by the attacker? See, server doesn't know whether they are fake IP addresses. How did the server knew? Here, server doesn't know the fake IP addresses. Now, see, listen. Server doesn't know whether the address is fake or not. It is going to process the requests automatically and it is going to send to the forward it to the website, whatever the requests are there. In the meanwhile, that is the reason why genuine users are not getting the access because server is basically processing this fake requests. Now, second, just a moment. Sir, attack perform DDoS attack in any website, then how to access on it? I got one more question, I guess, here. Difference between DOS and DDoS. Yeah, that I'll tell. I'll definitely tell that. Attacker take more than one node or used to send the fake requests. Any advantages? Yeah, I'll tell everything. First, let me just complete this part. So this is all about DOS attack, guys. Now, here exactly, let me just revise once. Attacker basically got fake IP addresses. He got all the fake requests and sent to the server, and server basically was processing these fake requests by fake IP addresses. In the meanwhile, the genuine user got request timeout or some uh, error to browse the basically browse this Amazon.com. Then what this user will do is he will switch from Amazon.com to Flipkart.com automatically from Flipkart.com. Either it is you, either it is me, or either it is any of the user, he will directly switch to Flipkart.com or any another business so that this Amazon business got one customer minus one customer. Like that, whenever here we tell 1 lakh people are browsing, so one minus 1 lakh customers are being done. Sir, how a single attacker can send these many requests? Sir, how access the website? Guys, I am telling you, I am warning you again and again. I am warning you again and again. So if you basically try to browse about DOS attack, if you try to perform DOS attack on any of the websites, it is a serious offense and you will be arrested in 5 to 10 minutes. That is for sure. So don't try to, this is basically the very, one of the most, you can tell, critical topic in cyber security. So whenever there is a successful DOS attack, the whole company comes down. So the whole company, whatever sales are there, each and everything is completely disturbed, and it is some kind of huge attack. So don't try to take it very easily. So please try to understand whatever I'm trying to tell. Once I complete everything, I give the countermeasures, all everything, then you can ask the questions. Then also I will tell how the attack is performed, how basically people do the attacks, and I'll tell you should do it or not also, and also give you the disclaimer. Till that time, try to understand first. So this is, let me get back to the topic. So this is basically a DOS attack, guys. In DOS attack, attacker will create the fake IP addresses. Now here, one more, in DOS, we got two types. One is denial of service and another one is distributed denial of service. In distributed denial of service, what exactly will happen? Let me just show you. In distributed denial of service, so here what will exactly happen is you have the same attacker, you have the same attacker, you have the same server here, and here you have the website again. Here you have the website, but here in between what will happen is, guys, here in between what will happen is, just try to observe. So here, this is basically the attacker. This is basically the attacker. Now what attacker will do is, he will not directly go and attack the server. He will not directly go and perform a DOS attack on the server. Behalf of that, what exactly he will do is, first he will try to hack few 10 to 15 computers, 10 to 15 servers of any company, or he will try to compromise another systems. So attacker will not directly attack with his own PC, own network or anything. What he will do is, he will try to compromise this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here I basically have 6, but see, based upon the attack, so here whenever I basically compromise, attacker basically compromise this 6 different systems. Either they can be servers, either they can be any kind of PCs. Let's imagine these are PCs, 6 different PCs with 6 different IP addresses, 6 different locations, and 6 different owners. Okay, it is completely different. So attacker, what he is doing here, he basically succeeded to hide his identity. Here the hide his identity. So not exactly hide his identity, however, they'll get to know. So here what attacker will do is, he'll try to compromise multiple number of systems, and what he will do is, now he will perform DOS attack from these multiple systems. So here this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever are there. This one will basically send 1 lakh requests. 2 will basically send 1 lakh requests. 3 will send 1 lakh. 4 will send 1 lakh. 5 will send 1 lakh. 6 will send 1 lakh. So here you basically produced 6 lakh fake requests will be sent to the server. So that time within 10 to 15 seconds, the server will get crashed. So because of that high, so whenever you compare DOS and DDoS, in DOS attack, what we exactly did, we directly sent the fake IP addresses. But here what we did is, first we basically took these compromised computers. So they're basically also called as zombies. They're also called as zombies. So whenever you go for zombies guys are nothing but the attacker has the whole control over this all the pieces. So he will basically distribute the attack. So first thing is, the attack has been distributed between 7 different systems. After distributing the attack, then he will perform DOS attack to the server. So that is the reason why it is called as distributed denial of service attack. Sir, the hacked computers are belongs to organization or any other normal. See guys, these whatever the zombies are there, compromised systems are there, they can either belong to one single individual or either they can belong to any of the organization, doesn't matter. So the reason why they have this multiple number of systems is because, so here whenever you go for DOS attack, from this one basically attacker, one PC only we generated fake IPs. But here we are taking help of 7, 8, 10, 100, 200, 500 number of different pieces. We are compromising those pieces, and from those pieces we are remotely trying to attack this server. So this each and every computer will produce, this is one DOS attack, this is one DOS, this is another DOS, and again this is another DOS, this is another DOS. Like that, multiple DOS attacks will be done to the server. So distributed DOS attack is nothing but all the attack is first distributed, then the distributed systems will try to basically initiate the attack on the server. That is a target. So once the target has been hitted, within 10 to 15 seconds, the whole server will get crashed. Who operates that zombies? Is it done by the owner or the attacker? See, exactly, the attacker is going to compromise these systems and he is going to have the remote access. So let me just write here. Attacker compromises different targets and use them remotely to perform DOS attack in a distributed way. So the impact of attack is multiplied, or you can also tell the impact of attack is doubled. Yeah. Impact of attack is increased as compared to normal DOS attack. So guys, in DDoS attack, what will exactly happen? Attacker compromises different targets. After compromising those different targets, he will try to operate all the systems remotely and initiate the target to the server. He will basically take the IP address of the server. He will try to target the IP address in each and every system here. Then each and every system will perform the DOS attack in this way. So the person who is going to operate all these zombies is basically one attacker. Then that zombies will perform DOS attack without knowing their owner or not, sir. So see, once my laptop is compromised, if I'm not doing, see, if you take my personal laptop itself, someone tried to hack my laptop, they got all the remote access to my laptop. Now, while I am working or while I am monitoring my laptop, then basically he might not do anything. But in the meanwhile, whenever you go for the time where I am not using my laptop or there is no kind of activity going on my laptop, however, the attacker is going to monitor these laptops. So if there is no activity going on, in the meanwhile, in the backend, what he will do is he will basically initiate the attack. So to initiate the attack, he doesn't need anything actually. He basically need the IP address, and also he will try to build the remote connection to my laptop. He will try to build the remote connection through my laptop. If there is any kind of vulnerability, he will try to send phishing mails. He will try to basically send some kind of trojans, malware, or n number of things to compromise my laptop. Once I basically try to download that infected file, if I try to click on that website, or if I try to click on that mail or download any kind of executable files or some kind of PDFs which are injected with malware and Trojan, then he will directly get the access to my laptop, and then remotely he will try to monitor. Whenever I am working, he will try to maintain that gap. And while this laptop is free, let's say I'm not using the laptop, that time what he will do is he'll try to remotely install all the softwares or all the requirements, resources required to do the denial of service attack. Then he will try to initiate the denial of service attack. I will not get to know when he tried to attack, when he tried to do anything, because he basically is doing everything in the backend. Now, while I'm using the laptop, I can basically tell, but if I'm not using the laptop, that time he tries to initiate the attack, then I will not get to know. That is like some kind of 50-50 percentage whether I will get to know or not get to know. If I'm monitoring properly, if I have networks, good network security, good antivirus and everything, and I don't download or click on anonymous links, and I don't download anonymous files from anonymous people who try to send it, then my laptop is going to be safe. So that is why we basically tell that we basically mention to not to click on links, not to watch piracy movies on piracy websites. The reason is whenever you download a piracy movie from torrent or something, so whenever you try to download from torrent, what exactly will happen is in the back end, they can be some kind of malware or something injected, right? So once you download it, that malware will try to basically infect all the laptop or whatever the files are there, it will try to infect, and the owner is going to get the IP address, all the information. Malware is nothing but, guys, it is basically a piece of code which can remotely automatically get executed. Once you download the file, the what it will do is it will automatically execute all the code. In that code, I can basically write a code to collect the information on IP addresses and everything. So I could practically make this if possible. See, whenever it comes to malware or anything, it is basically some kind of bigger picture you need to see whenever you're trying to do this. So this can be done in completely kind of, you can tell, highest monitoring type. You need to completely maintain your IP address and everything anonymous, and you need to select each and every tool carefully. You need to not, sir, how can we know that systems are compromised? See, whenever systems are compromised, sir, could you practically showcase the mechanism if possible? No, 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 no. We can't showcase that mechanism. That is completely prohibited. See, the reason why we can't showcase is because, see, I am also using a Wi-Fi, right? Of either it is Airtel, let's say it is an Airtel Wi-Fi. So, and also, sir, how to get someone mobile IP address, how to track the location of the mobile by using IP address. You can search on YouTube. No, go and search on YouTube or somewhere. See, IP address you can track, but it is not. No software or no tool is going to give you the accurate IP address. Okay, it is not exactly possible, but there are a few kind of paid tools which you can get to use. So they might give, yeah, through phishing link. Okay. So, guys, what I was telling exactly, showcase the mechanism practically. Sir, how can we know that system is compromised? See, guys, system is compromised if you want to know or if you want to see. You need to basically see whether your computer is acting weirdly. So sometimes what will happen whenever you download few files. So see here, one more case is if you try to restart your computer. So that particular attacker, whoever is there, if someone will try to restart this computer here, he will basically lose the access. He will basically lose the access. Again, he need to send that link or send that file. Again, this basically user should download that file, and again he is going to build the access. Like that, each and every time you restart your computer or you disconnect your internet connection, then however he is going to lose the access. So that is how it is going to work. Is DHCP only for Android or for systems also? So what are you trying to exactly tell, Durga? I am not getting you. Okay, guys. So let's complete this first, then we can do the other discussions. So now everyone understood, right, how DDoS attack is done. In DDoS attack, you're trying to target multiple victims. Multiple victims are nothing but compromised systems. You will try to take multiple IP addresses of unknown people or innocent people, then you're trying to compromise these systems, and then you're trying to initiate the attack. So the reason to distribute the attack is because the attack is going to be increased in more kind of destructively it is being attacked, and the target will get more number of requests, then it is automatically going to crash. So that is how it is going to work. Clear guys till here everyone? DOS and DDoS difference, everything is fine. So whenever you go for the definitions and everything, technically I'll just make sure that you will get the some kind of Word document or PDF to read and revise the definitions. Theoretical, everything you will get. Any advantages? Yeah, that I'm coming through. Till here, everything is clear. Now, let me just show you the tools which are used. Low orbit ion cannon. This is basically one tool, guys. Low orbit ion cannon. In this, you can tell you are basically select your target. You need to give your URL. You need to give the IP address, and you need to go for lock on, and then automatically it will basically start flooding. It will basically give you whatever the network packets are, the requests are there. Those packets will be sent to the target. So here, see attack options, timeout. Here you can give a timeout. So these are basically number of packets, HTTP, TCP, UDP message. A cat is fine to something he gave the message. And again, you're targeting, giving a target port. You're giving a method UDP or TCP. Here you're giving the number of threads and faster, speed or slower. Faster or slower, you can basically choose. So the basic things you need to observe here is URL and website, URL and IP address can be given. After giving URL the IP address, you are basically going to target that IP address and you are going to do some simple configurations. And once you basically click on attack, it is going to start flooding. And if you want to stop the attack, then you can go for stop flooding. Now, there is one more tool which is more advanced than low orbit ion cannon. It is high orbit ion cannon. High orbit ion cannon. So I know a lot of students think that we can attack college website, we can get the data, something, we will make the server unavailable. So it only is found to be good if you listen that, but practically telling it is completely going to be some kind of you can tell illegal way to do that. So please don't try to go for practical methods. I am showing you, right? I am telling you whatever the scenarios, everything, try to understand and try to leave this topic till here in the theoretical part itself. Don't get into practical part. Okay, denial of service attack is fine. So this is basically two tools are there. Low orbit ion cannon, high orbit ion cannon. So low orbit ion cannon is little bit, you can tell, high orbit ion cannon is a little bit more aggressive as compared to low orbit ion cannon. Now, whenever you go for a DOS attack, guys, it is basically some kind of, you can tell, completely not appreciated kind of attack. If you're doing it for the practice basis also, you can basically face a lot of high consequences for doing that. Until you have the complete lab setup, which is completely isolated, everything, till that time, you should not practice it on any of the URLs of any of the websites, any of the public websites, either it is Amazon, Flipkart, or college website, any website, please don't do it. I am warning you, please don't do it. It is only for the educational purpose. Just learn how it is, how basically it works. Now, what are the countermeasures for this DOS attack? Can anyone tell me countermeasures for the DOS attack? So guys, whenever you go for countermeasures of DOS attack, so either it is distributed denial of service or denial of service. Whenever you go for prevention, so here there is a proper prevention for this DOS attack here. Let me just show you guys. Prevention methods. So whenever you go for prevention method, guys, first one is going to be attack surface exposure. How you're going to decrease the attack surface exposure. So whenever you're going for attack surface exposure, you need to limit the attack surface exposure. So there are basically several methods for reducing this exposure. So you can basically go for restricting the traffic to specific locations. You can implement some kind of blocking communications. So whenever you go for a fake IP addresses, if you basically deploy firewalls, exactly how Manoj told, whenever you're trying to deploy firewalls, you basically try to filter out the traffic, then automatically the IP addresses will be blocked here itself. If you're using the right firewall, so whatever where will be the firewall deployed exactly that we are showing, the firewall will be deployed here. Here the firewall will be deployed. So whenever you go for this firewall, guys, this firewall is automatically going to block this all the fake IP addresses. It is going to block all the fake IP addresses, and you can basically set rules. You can basically set number of rules to in the firewall, and also you can basically delete. You can basically restrict the access to different locations which you are suspicious of, and also you can basically set rules in a way. So here what will exactly happen is whenever you go for a DOS and DDoS attack, so here whenever there is a sudden traffic of 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs been hitting your server, that time automatically this firewall, you can basically set this firewall, you can basically set the rules in a way that whenever there is some situation like this happening, it can directly go and block all the traffic. If someone is genuine, then automatically he's going to retry and he's going to get in. But till that time, it should basically block all the requests. So that is the first implementation, and one of the most practical implementation which can be given to basically reduce the DOS attack. So your first point is filtering traffic. Restricting different locations and also using firewall with rule sets. You can tell right rule sets. And there was one more, using firewall with the right rule sets, restricting different locations, filtering the traffic, filtering the traffic. Okay, so these are basically three different things. Now, whenever you go for these three different things, this is basically method one. Now, second method is whenever you're trying to do this, so firewall is there, but still, whenever you go for the whenever you go for the second method, so here we have something called as threat monitoring. Threat monitoring. So exactly in a real-time threat monitoring, what exactly you will do is you will basically try to monitor all the traffic which is trying to access your resources. Either it is website, either it is server, doesn't matter. You're trying to monitor all the traffic. So here, whenever you're monitoring, it can basically help you to exactly pinpoint or whatever the traffic patterns are there, right? Whenever you go for this pattern here in DOS attack, so each and every attack doesn't not only DOS attack, guys, each and every attack will follow some kind of pattern. you can basically recognize that pattern. On based upon that pattern, you can basically monitor and analyze the whole threat. So whenever you're trying to monitor, so you're basically trying to monitor all the network traffic, and you see suddenly there are 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 requests coming from the same IP address or different IP addresses, you can directly go and manually block those IP addresses. Whether firewall does it or not, if you have the right monitoring system and you're monitoring it properly, then definitely you can go and monitor the whole system, and you can definitely go for the blocking the IP addresses. Now, whenever you're trying to monitor, guys, whenever you're trying to monitor the traffic, whatever traffic is coming to the website, so here you will basically be monitoring the traffic spikes. So what is exactly traffic spikes? Traffic spikes is nothing but whenever you go for the graph, right? Whenever you go for the graph, so if that graph suddenly increase like this, so it is normally going like this, and again suddenly if it is increasing, then in that spike you are going to basically pinpoint that one particular spike, and you are going to see what are the IP address involved in those particular requests. If there are basically commonly, see here, whenever I tell 1 lakh requests are being sent from these 7 IP addresses, so can we basically imagine that each and every machine is basically generating fake IP addresses? Can this single computer repeatedly generate fake IP addresses, or it is going to send only once and it is going to be quiet? Definitely, it is going to try again and again, and it is going to try and basically try to send multiple requests to the server. So whenever it is trying to send multiple requests, so exactly whenever I try to monitor here, whenever the graph is going like this, whenever the graph is going like this, and again suddenly it goes like this, and if I basically try to concentrate on this part, try to concentrate on this part exactly, here I will find that is basically 5 lakhs requests coming to the server. 5 lakh requests coming to the server, but the requests which were sent, that basically have only 7 sources. They have basically 7 different sources. So whenever you go for genuine user, each user or each computer is going to visit your website once. They will complete either in 10 minutes or 20 minutes of duration of time, and then they're going to leave. But here, whenever you go for this basically in denial of service attack or distributed denial of service attack, once 10,000 requests are sent, here 10,000 will be sent, here 10,000 will be sent, and again second time again it will send 10,000. So like that until it is reaching the 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs of count, till that time multiple time requests are being sent. So whenever it is sending the multiple times and it is trying to repeat it, that time what will happen is, in this basically whole region, you will find common only 7 to 10 IP addresses involved. So that time what you will do is either you will get the IP addresses or you will get the locations, the same location it is coming. So that time you will block the location, you will block the IP addresses, then automatically the traffic will come down. Again, it will basically go to the normal stage. So that basically happens whenever you're doing threat monitoring. That is the exact duration. So that is those are basically two different tools. Now, two different methods. Now, whenever you go for tools, what are basically tools? Now, whenever you want to talk about web application, we got WAF, which is going to be web application firewalls. Now, whenever you go for web application firewalls, guys, these web application firewalls are highly customizable and they can easily be deployed on the web applications. So there are basically separate types of web applications which support the firewalls which support the web applications. The reason why WAF is basically integrated to avoid this DOS and DDoS attacks is because it can basically filter all the traffic. It can basically block the HTTP or any unsecured traffic. It can inspect the patterns of the traffic. It can go for policies. It can go for filtration method. It can go for the some kind of positive or negative incoming and outgoing traffic, or it can also go for the specific locations and IP addresses. Each and everything it can concentrate on, it can try to mitigate the risk. First one is it can go for inspection of traffic. point number one. Second one is going to be patterns, recognizing patterns. Recognizing patterns, and third one is uh, inbound and outbound traffic. You can tell incoming traffic, monitoring incoming traffic. So these are basically different things, and also locations and IP addresses. You can monitor locations and IP addresses. So this is basically one thing. So whenever you go for avoiding DOS attacks or whatever it is, you need to have the right architecture of your website. You need to deploy firewalls for the security purpose, and also you need to concentrate on the monitoring part. So each and every year, people say there is so reports say that there is a requirement of 8 to 10 million of cyber security individuals in India, but India is basically producing only 1 million to 1.5 million of cyber security individuals each and every year. The reason is because these kind of attacks are very common. So you get tools, you get everything. So if I get caught also, what is it if people are getting money and they are basically using these LOIC and HOIC, low orbit and high orbit cannon tools, and they're trying to perform the attack. The loss has been done for the company, the loss has been done for the business. Sales are down, everything is down, customers are facing the issues, everything is done. But once the person is caught, then there is nothing, already the damage has been done. So for that, the prevention is more important. The reason why cybersecurity jobs are increasing, the demand is increasing, because the prevention methods. So whenever I tell, we are basically going for monitoring part. So for this one term, whenever I tell monitoring, for this monitoring only there will be 10 to 15 people who will be monitoring in the senior level, 5 to 6 people who will be monitoring in the junior level. That is the 4 to 5 experience of people, and 10 to 15. Again, you will have the freshers who will be monitoring, and again you will have the interns who will help you out to set up the filters and everything. So for this only you require 40 to 50 members of team for at least 10,000 to 15,000 of customers who are having more than 25,000, 30,000 traffic on their live real-time traffic on their website. So the companies like Amazon, Flipkart, AWS, or any of the companies which are dealing with 1 lakh, 2 lakhs customers per day, they basically require some 200 to 300 individuals who are basically divided into different streams to monitor the web security part. And this is basically one part, guys. DOS is going to be only one attack. One attack. We have a lot more attacks. So tomorrow's class also, in the next class also, we are going to basically discuss the same thing. Sir, can we monitor the fake traffic by using Kali tools? So whenever you go for monitoring fake traffics, so you got monitoring tools. So this is basically called as Security Operations Center. For that, you have some different tools. You don't need Kali Linux. You need to go for Splunk. Splunk is basically one tool. One more tool is IBM QRadar. IBM QRadar, security IBM QRadar. And another one we got is Wazoo SIM tool. Yeah, not this one. This one. See, Splunk is there. Splunk Enterprise Universal collects the data securely from remote sources, including other forwards, sends into Splunk software indexing consolidation, primary data. So here you have APM, RUM, infrastructure, just a moment. Monitoring the performance of the servers, containers, apps, real time to scale. So this is basically used in the security part. Now here I have something called as IBM again. So whenever you go for monitoring tools, these three are basically considered as the top tools. First one is Splunk, and second one is IBM QRadar. So IBM QRadar is basically a little bit older one. Splunk was also older one, but recently they updated everything. So here, whenever you go, see what are the features we can see here. Risk-based alert prioritization is there. Sigma rules you can set. So see, with native support for thousands of open source Sigma rules, security analysts can quickly import new validated crowdsourced instructions directly from the security company. So whenever you're setting up rules also for the monitoring, you can get a few of rules which already someone is using. Threat intelligence, latest threat intelligence landscape leveraging different URLs. So in this threat intelligence part, what will exactly happen is whenever you go for artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? How to set the rules. So this IBM QRadar Splunk is going to be completely a different course. So if you go for Splunk, you have 25 hours plus course if you want to learn how to set up rules, how to set up threat intelligence and everything. IBM QRadar, it is more than 20 hours plus course. And again, if you go for Wazoo also, it is basically, it will take 30 to 40 hours to learn everything. So this is basically threat intelligence. You will get under threat intelligence, you will get lot of URLs, fake URLs, fake IP addresses. Like whenever you go for a DOS, in DOS, basically there is a pattern of attacking, right? Based upon that pattern, it is going to predict and it is going to give you some intelligence on that. So whenever that attack is initiated in 10, if you basically get 10, let's say 10% of attack is done. So based upon the 10% of attack only, whenever it is executed, automatically it will block all those and it will basically generate alerts and everything. So whatever uh, people are there who are monitoring, they can basically look at the alerts and they can block the requests. That is how it is done. Okay, now again, you got something called as federated search. Federated search is there. Again, you got user behavior analytics. User behavior analytics is nothing but guys based upon the people who are using it. On that also, it is going to be who is the genuine user, who is the fake user. And network threat analytics is again the different one. So this is, if you want to learn this, guys, it is completely deep and more interesting part. So guys, this is all about the DOS one. Now, if we move forward, here we got something called as OS top 10 vulnerabilities for OASP top 10 vulnerabilities for web applications. So guys, whenever you go for OASP top 10 vulnerabilities, so under this OASP top 10 vulnerabilities, so here first thing is whenever you go for OASP, so OASP is basically going to be an organization here, which each and every year or at some time period of time, whenever there are new vulnerabilities, they will basically publish OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities for web applications. So whenever you go for these web vulnerabilities, so they basically take the information of what are the number of attacks that have been done till now, or what are the vulnerable websites, or how the vulnerabilities are getting executed, everything. Based upon that, they define the top 10 vulnerabilities. So we are going to learn the top 10 vulnerabilities, both in a theoretical way and the practical way. So let me just show you what are the top 10 vulnerabilities here. Yeah. So guys, here you have OASP top 10 vulnerabilities. So whenever you go for these OASP top 10 vulnerabilities, guys, here first one is broken authentication. So what is exactly broken access control or broken authentication? So it is like whenever you go for this, what do you say? People basically use different passwords, right? User IDs and passwords. For that, what they can do is, because if there is no type of good encryption and decryption, so because of that, they are basically going to they're basically going to compromise their user IDs and passwords. So broken access control from the start itself till now, it has always been some kind of you can tell each and every website. Few websites have still doesn't have the strong passwords. Users don't use the strong passwords, and there are no kind of recommendations also for those users. That is one. Now you have cryptographic failures. Cryptographic failures are nothing but, guys, it is completely related to you can tell some kind of encryption and decryption. So whenever the sensitive data is exposed, wherever you go for some kind of algorithms don't try to decrypt and encrypt the whole sessions or whatever is data is being shared. That is one. Now whenever you go for injections, so injection are basically is the third one, which is one of the most dangerous ones. So here what will exactly happen is there is something called as cross-site scripting. So in that cross-site scripting, what people will do is they will try to manipulate the data which is present on the website, and then they will try to get the access. So here you have insecure design. Insecure design is nothing but it is like whenever you focus on the architecture and everything, so there are basically some kind of design flaws. These design flaws are nothing but, so like whenever you go for threat modeling, secure coding, secure software building, some kind of measures will be there. You need to concentrate on those. So if you don't concentrate on code security and everything, then your website will be completely vulnerable. That is one. Now, whenever you go for security misconfiguration, so in the security misconfiguration also, so they are like some kind of highly configurable softwares are there. So it is like whenever you go for this category, there is something called as XML external entities. So here what will exactly happen is in misconfiguration. So few are like outdated components are there. Few are like security. Whenever you go for admin, if you go for administrator has a separate access and normal user has a separate access. So there is some kind of configuration that you need to keep in mind whenever you're trying to build a secure architecture and website. If that is not followed correctly, then definitely it is going to be under the misconfiguration part. Now again we have vulnerable and outdated components. So vulnerable and outdated components is nothing but, so back in 2015, 16, 17, these outdated components were in the top three. So it basically landed on second and third of the vulnerability. Whenever you go for these outdated failures, this is because whenever a organization is basically releasing some kind of a new version, that time it has lot of bugs. I hope everyone has observed that it will have lot of bugs, and due to this lot of bugs, exactly what will happen is it will basically cause some kind of authentication failures or any of the it will basically allow you to download some files. It will not block all the uh, some kind of insecure websites. So a lot of things can be done. Whenever you basically go for outdated, the risk will be completely increased. Now, identification and authentication failures. So these are basically nothing but whenever you go for authentication part, user IDs and passwords completely related to user IDs. So there is basically a standard, there should be a standardized framework for using each and every user ID and password. So whenever you're trying to securely authenticate into either any portal, either any some kind of website or any of the banking system, there should be some kind of framework to secure your authentication part. So whenever you go for authentication, we got something called as multi-factor authentication, two-factor authentication. So it will basically send the OTP. Then if you verify the OTP, then only it is going to get the access. So that is one. Security logging and monitoring failures. So whenever you go for security logging and monitoring, so whenever you go for this category, so this is completely towards the monitoring part. See, whenever you're trying to monitor the whole network, like in DOS, I basically mentioned, if you monitor it correctly, automatically you are going to get the threat. If you're not going to have the proper monitoring system, and if you're not going to monitor the threats, then your whatever the vulnerability is there in your website, that can be exploited easily. If you monitor time to time the whole network, the whole software, whatever you have, then exactly you will be able to look for the threats and you will be able to resolve the threats. Now here we have server side request forgery. Whenever you go for server side request forgery, so here it is like whenever you're trying to send a request to the server, that time that particular session will be there. So whenever you try to send a request to a server here, let me just show you. So here, whenever you go for session server side request forgery, exactly what will happen is whenever a request is sent from a client to server, that time that will be that it is basically technically called as a session. Now you will try to hijack the session, and whatever the values are there in that particular session, you will try to capture that and you will try to manipulate the data. So let's say if I go for Amazon.com and the price of that Amazon.com mobile phone is 10,000 or 20,000. Whenever I'm sending a request to buy, what I will do is I will intercept the traffic in between using the tools like Burpsuit or any another tool. Once I intercept the traffic, I will go for the request. Whatever the request is that I will try to manipulate the prices and everything, and then I will try to forward the request to the server. So if the server is going to basically catch that particular thing, then it is going to not allow me to basically buy it on the same price. Then the price will be again remodified to the price which was it before, like 20,000. If I make it 1 rupee and forward it to the server, then if the server is going to process the request and it is going to execute it, then I will buy the product for 1 rupee. But if server side request forgery vulnerability is not present, then you are going to, it is going to, whatever, how many requests you are going to do, how many attacks you are going to perform, then it is going to not allow you to manipulate the data. So that is how exactly how OASP top 10 works. And again here in this OASP top 10, there is one more add-on to tell SQL injection. So here injection is present. Under this injection only you got SQL injection also. So whenever you go for a database, guys, whenever you go for database, so each and every database, what will happen is it will basically have a user ID and password. Wherever the user IDs are being stored in the backend in the database, that location you can get, and also you can basically get the all the data which is present in that particular uh, database. So whenever you go for a username and password, each and every username and password is basically stored in one location. So you can basically get that location, and you can basically also get the different user IDs that people place there, and also they can basically, it can basically be completely vulnerable. It will basically show you all the list of user IDs. So whenever you go for the practical part, we will basically try to cover broken access control, injections, and also we will go for vulnerable outdated components, how they basically damage. Also, we'll go for the authentication failures. We will go for some kind of, you can tell, server side request forgery. And also we will see whenever you have a vulnerabilities like FTP file transfer protocol, something like file transfer protocol, if you have that vulnerability, how exactly it is vulnerable and how you're going to resolve it. So this everything we will try to resolve. So till today, guys, we will just wrap it up till here itself. But whenever you go for next session, we will try to do each and every practical part, that is either broken access, cryptographic failures, injection, insecure design, security misconfiguration, vulnerable outdated components, uh, authentication failures. So monitoring will not be possible. Data integrity also will not be possible. So data integrity is nothing but this is related to CIA triad, and server side request forgery also we can do. So here I want to mention one thing. There is something called as metasploitable. Metasploitable server. That is basically a virtual server, metasploitable. So we will be trying to perform all the attacks on metasploitable. And also there is something called as DVWA, damn vulnerable web application. DVWA, damn vulnerable web application. Based upon this damn vulnerable web application only, we will try to perform all the attacks. What are you guys telling in group? Phishing link creating ready. Okay. Sir, that is the best tool. So that is the best tool for SQL injection. For SQL injection, best tool is SQL map. So in next session, I'll just show you what are the tools you can use, and we will go for practical method. So what is zero-day vulnerability? Zero-day exploit is a kind of vulnerability where the developer of the application or the security officer doesn't know vulnerability that has been done by the attacker. Best example is Stuxnet attack. This is basically vulnerable server. I'll just show you all these attacks on this DVWA. So DVWA is basically vulnerable web application. So whenever you go for Amazon.com, the web application is not vulnerable. It is completely secure. So this is basically for education purpose and practice purpose. We will practice on this. So let me just show you how DVWA works. Looks exactly. So guys, please try to look into this. So this is basically metasploitable. Under the metasploitable, you will get a DVWA, damn vulnerable web application. So under this damn vulnerable web application, guys, you can do brute forcing, you can do command execution. So you can do CSRF file inclusion, SQL injection is there. Two types of SQL injection is there, blind and another SQL injection. So XSS is there. So whenever you go for brute forcing, so if you go for brute forcing, you will get something like username and password. Username and password. So under this username and password, you can basically try to see. So in SQL injection, guys, whenever you go for SQL injection, we can basically create our own database. We can give the user ID. Once if you try to give the user ID here, you will basically get some kind of table will be created. Under that table, you will store all the user IDs. So we'll just try to see how we can crack this databases and everything using SQL injection. And there is one tool also in Kali Linux to see how SQL. See here you can create a database. Database has been created. Now if you go back to SQL injection, in this SQL injection, you have user ID, right? Here you can type anything. So this one colon or one is equals to one hash. These are basically called as SQL attack parameters. So whenever you go for SQL attack parameters, these attack parameters will help you to expose the location. Now, once I submit here, once I click on submit, see, look at the output. First name admin, first name Gordon, first name hack, first name Pablo, first name Bob. So here exactly what happened is whenever you go for this user ID, right? Whenever you go for web applications which are vulnerable to SQL injection, what exactly will happen whenever you give username? That time what exactly will happen is it will try to show the whole in database. There will be one table where all the usernames were stored, so it will try to show you all the table information itself. So here it is showing the whole table information. So this is basically the username. I try to manipulate the username and submit here. It is showing me the whole username, server and everything. So it is trying to show me everything. So this is one. Now, if you go for blind injection, it is different. If you go for XSS reflected, if you go for XSS reflected, under XSS reflected, you can basically go for name, message box and everything. You can try to look at the information and everything. So in the next session, guys, we will try to learn how this practical is implemented. Now I showed you a little bit now I show you a little bit of this. Now in the next class,